Storm331. We'll be doing Final Fight Guy 1cc attempts later on today, around 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But I figured before that I'd get this speedrun guide for round one slums for speedruns out of the way. This is going to be a guide for speedrunning Final Fight 1 for the arcade version, or even on home console versions. You can apply that as well if you wish. But anyway, the guide is meant to help players learn what they'll be expecting in round 1. And when I get some time, I'll do the same for round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, and round 6. Now, I'll be using Hagar for this and Autofire. If you don't want to use the Autofire for your speedrun submissions for speedruns.com, feel free to put it on normal attack, and you can do that from here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So anyway, when you start off the game, we're gonna be getting ready. Oh, hey, Zoth, how are ya? These aren't actually speed runs. I'm doing a guide for speedruns.com to cover each stage in general. The actual speed runs will be happening around 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope your day's been going well, by the way. And I hope CG had a pretty good time with the Shinobi runs the other night, too. But anyway, for the most part, speedrunning this game is not too difficult as you would think. All you have to do is just do backwards jumping, and you'll pretty much get most of your momentum. So if any of the enemies start getting too close, you can use the extra joy to eliminate them, so you don't have to deal with most of the enemies that come through. Normally, when you get to stop points in this game, only the enemies that appear to attack you will come right at you. Those are the ones you'll need to eliminate. So right here we have to deal with 3 of the enemies, but in actuality we only have to defeat the Geobriar, the Bilbo, the J, and the 2P. So in Final Fight 1, you want to prioritize defeating all of the enemies that come out of the stop point areas. So if you're wondering why you're advancing through the stage as opposed to not defeating all the enemies, you're only required to defeat the enemies that are required to advance. So anyway, we're coming up to Thrasher coming up. He's pretty easy to deal with. For speedrun purposes, you want to keep this 2P from getting involved. Because once we trigger our path, but yeah, it's pretty easy to lose control of the infinites. But technically, what you want to do with any of the characters is the infinite Thrasher, so he doesn't get his way for the most part. Unfortunately, since we didn't get the infinite, we're going to have to probably do all 2 rounds. He only summons 2 rounds of minions in each of this, every time his health bar hits a specific category. So after he calls up his second round, he won't be calling up any more enemies. But technically, Thrasher's pretty easy to deal with. This is also the only boss in the entire game where Hagar could do his infinites on him freely without being punished. So anyway, for the most part, you want to be at the bottom part of the screen when you do your reverse jumping, because when you're doing reverse jumping to your enemies, like the enemies will pretty much basically try to impede your progress, and they will attack you if you do reverse jumping. If you watched any of my other guides, you'll pretty much remember that I pretty much mentioned that enemies will always attack you when you do reverse jumping, as opposed to your forward jumps. So if you jump at them at the forward, they won't attack you. But, well, most of the time. But if you do reverse jumping, you're going to always get intercepted. But technically, this is actually a pretty straightforward stage to easily run through for the most part. But if any enemies start catching up to you, regardless of which character you're using, you want to keep these enemies off of you with the extra joy. And that allows you to probably bypass the having to deal with all of them when you get to the stop point here. One thing to keep in mind is that you won't, unlike Final Fight 2, you will get stun locked when enemies start attacking you in most cases. So anyway, like I said before, when you get into this second area, you don't really need to beat all the enemies. All you have to do is basically just wipe out the ones that come out right off the gate. And technically you want to be on the move until you get to force point. There aren't that many force points. Now in this game here, though, you're pretty much forced into fight. The enemies will do their darndest to pretty much force you into fights that you don't want to be doing. Especially since you want to get to the stop area and fight all of the required enemies that you do need to face off. So once all the enemies that you're required to defeat are defeated, you can advance, and it doesn't matter if any of the enemies that are not required are still around, you'll advance regardless. Now, of course, you can do infinites with Cody and Guy, you just can't really do a whole lot with Hagar, or especially when I'm doing with Turbo Fire here. But yeah, it's very hard to do the infinite with Hagar, especially with the auto fire. But if you're lucky enough, you'll be able to avoid most of the battles and prevent him from getting all of his reinforcements with Thrasher here. Of course, I do know his actual name is there. I don't say it on screen because it's not a very appropriate word. So yeah, once all the enemies come out to play, he'll eventually come out and start attacking us here. But technically, even though I failed to do it right here, the ultimate goal is to pretty much deliver the infinites to Thrasher and just basically keep him from summoning the enemy reinforcements. So let's go ahead and do this again. This time we're gonna not stop our enemies, and we'll try to advance all the way over to the end of this first part here. So we're gonna use the bottom screen. So if any of the enemies do come at you, use your down attack move to basically stop them from going after you. With Cody and Guy, you'll basically be able to stun enemies. So as you can see right there, I was able to get up to 28 seconds there. Oh, hey, Tolifo. So we're going to ignore all these enemies here. Or at least do the best art. So right now we need to prioritize getting rid of Bill Bull and Jay. Then this 2P. So unfortunately we wound up defeating all of the enemies, but we managed to get it done pretty quickly. So since our health is at a very high level, we could just go ahead and fight all the enemies without having to deal with all this ruckus. Okay, we need to force 2P to come at us so we can get rid of him so we don't have to deal with Thrasher. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save right here so I can try to show you what it's done successfully with the infinite. And that's how you do it. At least with Hagar. But with Cody and Guy, you can easily achieve this pretty easily. But anyway, if you do lose control of the infinite, there are other strats to deal with Thrasher here. So we'll go ahead and do this without the without resorting to the infinite. So let's say if you don't want to do the infinite and you're not using auto fire, you can just do grab strikes like the headbutts or the pile driver or throws. And then just deal with all the enemies that come out right here. And just use your extra joy to avoid getting hit by Thrasher here. So Thrasher won't go into the second part until he loses a certain amount of health. But yeah, once a certain amount of time has passed, you'll definitely want to move away because Thrasher will lock onto your current location and hit you with his jump attack from over there. But anyway, that's pretty much all that needs to be covered on round 1. It's a pretty short guide overall. But I will do the best I can to explain a little bit more about more of the stages coming up the next time I do these. Once I get this highlighted and exported to YouTube, I will export my YouTube video of it to speedruns.com. It's going to be beneficial for anyone that wants to get into Final Fight 1. Also, if you want to learn boss strategies for Final Fight, I recommend checking out a certain Japanese YouTuber named Rishuki. I believe that's what his name is. My apologies if I didn't say it correctly. He has he does mostly videos of Final Fight arcade, and he does have strats for all the bosses with each of the characters. So if you want to learn how to fight the bosses with each character, look, I recommend going on to his channel and checking that out here. I mean, out there, because he has pretty much a wide range of knowledge of how to fight Final Fight bosses more than I do. I can tell you that right now. And of course, having more knowledge is more power, as they say. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. I will be back to doing Guy Turbo 1cc attempts later on at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so be sure to stop by around that time. I might have to get dinner first beforehand, but I will. But even if I am late, I will still stream as planned. But anyway, thank you all for stopping by to watch today's stream. If you enjoy what I do, feel free to sub to my Twitch and YouTube channels, or even follow my Twitch channel. It definitely helps this channel grow bit by bit. I might consider doing a follower goal eventually in the near future, but I haven't really decided as to what should be the follower goal. So once I figure out what I want to do for a follower goal, I'll make the announcement. But anyway, I'll go ahead and let you all take off for the rest of the day. You all have a great day. I'm RotorStorm331 signing off. Have a great day. Take care, and I will see you all next time.